Hi, I'm Mahi, and I'm a law student at Monash University. Welcome to this Lawcate interview. At Lawcate, our mission is to help students locate opportunities in law. We aim to connect you with experiences and resources to build employability skills and help you make the most of your time at law school. In this series, we are interviewing professionals, graduates, and final year student leaders to understand how they develop the skills to help them in their career journeys. We hope that this will inspire you and open your eyes to the diverse range of opportunities available. I am very pleased to introduce our guest for this week. Paula is the CEO of Safe Futures Foundation, a not-for-profit specialist family violence organization providing services and housing for women and children affected by family violence. Paula holds a Bachelor of Laws and Arts from ANU and specialized in family law both when working as a solicitor and a barrister. She has worked in several managerial positions at InTouch and in local council before joining her current organization. Paula discusses the challenges of working in family law and the need for lawyers and law students to act with values and integrity when dealing with family law disputes. Paula stresses the importance of soft skills and the necessary skills to be a leader within the workforce. In looking to the future, Paula urges law students and young lawyers to find new, innovative ways to practice law. Hi, Paula. Welcome to Lawcate. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your role?
Thanks, Mahi. Yes, I am the CEO of Safe Futures Foundation, which is a not-for-profit independent organisation that provides a refuge crisis accommodation service to people who are victims of family violence and they need to move into refuge because they're homeless. It's my current role.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess off the bat, when you were a child,
Yes.
what did you want to be when you grew up?
I just wanted to be in a position where I got to make decisions and I had responsibility and I could contribute somehow to the community around me. So it was fairly vague.
Yeah. And why did you choose to study law?
Well, I guess at the time I grew up in Canberra and there was one university and it had 5 faculties. And the faculties were arts, Asian studies, law, science, and that's about it, actually.
And if you could describe yourself at law school in 3 words when you were studying, what would they be?
In 3 words: shy, quiet, diligent.
Yep, those are nice words. And what did you do when you were at law school that helped you get to where you are today?
Well, the best thing I had was I had a study group. So I formed a study group with a group of 5 women that I'm still friends with today. And we studied together and that was lovely. So, and I don't think I would have got through law school without them.
Yeah. And when and how did you gain your first kind of practical legal experience?
Well, when I finished my degree, I didn't want to do Leo Cousins or anything like that because I just really had enough of law school. I couldn't, the thought of going back to law school to study files just was not something that was very attractive. So I thought I'll do articles. And at that stage, articles had been abolished in Canberra. So I applied to do articles in Melbourne. And I was basically told you should have lined these up 2 years before you finish your degree and you're ringing us 3 months after you've graduated. So there's no articles for you, but you could try the country. So I went to my law library and got out the legal directory because in those days there was no internet. and I started, with the A's, and I worked myself down the names of law firms that were in the country that may have had two partners, and I got interviews in Benalla, Burnsdale, and Ballarat, B's, so I didn't get further than B. I drove down, had some interviews, got an offer of a job in Ballarat, and I did my articles at Cuthbert's in Ballarat, and I stayed in Ballarat for 2.5 years practicing family and crime. Yeah, so that was my experience. Articles in a country law firm. It was the oldest law firm in Victoria at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess stemming on from that, what was something that surprised you when you first kind of entered the legal industry?
But I actually enjoyed it. So that really surprised me because I studying law is studying law, and you study it in a vacuum. And the law is actually about people. So I'd spent 5 years reading cases, often laborious, pompous writing, not very interesting, very dry, hard to relate to. So I didn't think I would enjoy the practice of law. And when the first client walked in the door and they're a real person and they had an amazing story, because we all have amazing stories, and I could help them, I thought, wow, this is actually great. So that surprised me, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely. If there was one thing you wish you'd done at university or earlier in your career, what would that be?
I think I should have got more involved in university. Like, I was shy and diligent. I didn't really, other than have a close circle of friends. I should have actually joined societies and taken risks that and learnt soft skills that I then had to learn on the job. So there's a lot of opportunities, I think, at university to join clubs, societies, get on committees, and make mistakes about how to run a meeting, how to make a decision, how to be respectful to people when making decisions and involving everyone, leadership roles. All of that is there for you to try at university, and I wish I'd done that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely something to take on.
Yeah.
Yeah. In your current role, what is the biggest challenge you face now?
As a CEO? Well, I guess in my current role, what would be?
Or
Well,
as an organization?
As an organisation, well, I'm in a sector that's very fast growing, so dealing with growth and change, a lot of recruitment, a lot of engagement with external stakeholders, and holding that together, because people feel people generally uncertainty doesn't sit well with people. So if I have an organisation where there's quite a lot of change and flux, keeping that all together and keeping us on the same page, that's a challenge. Yeah.
And I guess the flip side is, what is your favourite thing about your current role?
Well, it's wonderful to work in an organisation that does good work. So that actually contributes positively to the community, that people feel safer, children are less anxious. That's really nice, because I didn't find I was necessarily doing that when I was practicing law. As a data.
Yeah, definitely. What are the biggest lessons you've learned in your career thus far?
Take opportunities and look for opportunities, make yourself available to take those opportunities, and follow your passion, what you really want to do, or and what drives you, rather than what people expect from you. So for instance, I mean, I'm the daughter of a migrant family. I made them very proud by studying law and becoming a solicitor, and then becoming a barrister. So I was a barrister at 30, and everyone was terribly proud of me. And after 10 years, I was miserable. So because it actually wasn't what I wanted to do. Litigating is, for me, I found I was in continuous conflict between people who once, because I practiced in family law, once loved each other. So on reflection, it was like, well, why did I do that? And I think I did that because it's what made my family proud of me. But what did I really actually want to do? So that's a lesson, I think. Being having the confidence in yourself to know what you really want to do and pursuing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We know you study law, but you're not a practicing lawyer right now.
Yes.
What are the most important skills in your role or career right now?
I don't regret studying law, I certainly don't regret practicing law. It's taught me to think rationally, make decisions based on the evidence. I also understand governance, government, statutory regimes, compliance. I can get my head around employment law. I can get my head around leasing really easily, constitutions. So there's a lot of law in running an organisation, and I'm very comfortable with that. So I think it's an excellent degree. I think you learn excellent skills. I don't know if I've answered the question, but so and then it's the soft skills. And they're so important. And I certainly didn't learn those at university, at law school. So I think that's missing. I actually think that's missing from a legal education. Yeah. Can I expand on that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, at law school, you answer your law exams on the premise that people think rationally, that people tell the truth, and that whatever decision made by the court is followed through by those people. And that's not what happens in real life. So in real life, people don't think rationally, that they often can't hear you because they're so heightened. And the court can make orders, but I found in family law that many orders were just not obeyed and were never going to be obeyed. Were never going to be followed through. And I feel that if, as a legal profession, we took into account the way people feel and how they are likely to behave, we could actually make decisions, the courts could make orders that would be far more helpful for them.
Yeah, definitely. I guess, how can law students then develop these skills?
I think being mindful and it's sort of interesting because I practiced law for a very long time, and then I went off and I did a mediation course, and what I was being told through this course was about how people behave and why they behave that way. I'd intuitively picked up while I was practicing law, but I didn't know that that's what was happening. And I'll give you an example. So in family law, divorce is non-fault based. It's not no fault based. So it doesn't matter who left who, or the reasons why. So as lawyers, we tend to not ask those questions. And when clients start telling us that information, we tell them it's irrelevant. What I found that as a barrister, that's the first question I would ask when I met my client in the hallway, in the court, in the foyer of the court, who left who and why and how you're feeling, because it impacted so much on the way that person would behave that day in any negotiation. So I knew it was irrelevant at law, but I just intuitively picked up that it's actually really relevant. And if we were to combine that understanding of how people behave and how they feel with the practice of law, and actually treat that seriously, we'd just be much better lawyers right from the start. We wouldn't necessarily be fumbling around for the first 5 years or 10 years of our practice.
Yeah. Definitely. Very good tip. How do you continue to learn and develop, I guess, in your current role, given like COVID and all these changing circumstances as well?
Um, I went from practicing law and being a solicitor and a barrister to having quite high level governance roles, and from there, and one of them was governing a not-for-profit family violence organisation, and from that I stepped into the family violence sector as a lawyer and transitioned over time from a lawyer to a manager to a CEO. So it's looking for opportunities and segueing into different roles while picking up skills. So that's what I've done. I'm not sure if I've answered your question, but there are a lot of skills associated with being a CEO. A very strong understanding of governance and how to deal with the board, understanding budgets, and submitting a budget to a board, staying within budget, and occupational health and safety, new statutory regimes in your sector. So yeah, there's not one. I don't think there's really one single sort of sort of skill set other than being a leader. So and leadership is about values. That's its essence. So what are your values? Do you have integrity? Are you honest? Are you trustworthy? Do you understand confidentiality? And then demonstrating those values, because values start from the top and they trickle down an organisation. They say with a fish, what is it? The head rot. Rot starts at the head, or an expression to that of that type. That's very true. If the people at the top of your organisation don't understand a conflict of interest, they're dishonest, or they have double standards, then that's going to trickle through down the organisation, and then you don't have an organisation that's functioning well. So yeah, leadership is about values, and what are your values?
Yeah. How do you stay up to date with what's going on currently in the legal industry? So across family law or any other type?
Okay, well, I don't really. Family law doesn't change very much. So there's not a lot of changes. I don't need to keep up to date with changes in case law because I'm not presenting cases anymore. So I need to have a general understanding of how family law is run, and I still have that. Yeah, so I've got lots of friends that are still in family law. So when I chat to them, they really don't talk about anything else. So in that way, I absolutely know, how is Zoom trials going, and, how do you get a quick application in, and what it's all about, what are the judges like, who's now at the bar. I still keep up to date with all that through my connections, but I don't need to read any case law or look at the change in regs anymore.
Yeah. I guess just looking to the future, what do you see as kind of the main future challenges in the legal industry?
Well, my friends tell me that it's very different to what it was like even 20 years ago. So it never stops. If you're working for an international law firm, you could be working late at night. Also, when I started, everything was done by letters. dictation on a dictaphone, and you sent a letter and you waited 3 days, and if you got a reply within 3 days, that was quick. Now it's all on the email and it's instant. So challenges in the legal profession, I guess, I think the nature of law is changing. The average consumer is far more aware of what the law is, what their rights are, what the process is.
Yep.
There was quite a bit of law that was expensive and didn't really add value. I think consumers now are more picky about, should I use picky? They're more, they want more. They want value for money. So giving value for money, costs that charge people. There's a space there in the internet, or maybe as well, for young people to find a different, I say young, the new generation to find a different way of practicing law. Why don't you? A way that's more helpful. There's lots of things in family law that you could put on a website and automate, and you could have, as a lawyer, you find yourself constantly repeating yourself the same advice, constantly repeating the same procedures to someone. If you had a practice, you could have, what we're doing now. You YouTube videos and all kinds of things. Yeah, different ways of communicating. Yeah.
What's next for you in your career?
What's I'm not moving. Well, I've only been a CEO for 9 months, so the next thing in my career is to consolidate my career and stay here for a very long time and grow a lovely, grow an even better service. Yeah.
And if law students are interested in your work and organisation, where do you suggest they can go to find out more information?
If you're a law student, because we employ social workers, so if you're a law student, I would, and you're interested in working in the not-for-profit sector or volunteering, it really is community legal services. That's where you add the most value. Our clients use community legal services, and there is only one family violence service that I know of that has an in-house community legal service, which is In Touch, Multicultural Agency Against Family Violence. Now, I know that because I used to work there, and we had law students. I had two. I had 2 to 3 law students at any given time, and they'd come in 1 or 2 days a week, and they were invaluable. So that's an opportunity, being a law student, if there is an in-house legal service at a family violence service, or working at a community legal centre that supports organisations like mine. Yeah,
definitely. Well, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mahi.
Thank you for tuning in to this Lawcate interview. Something that stood out to me from this interview was the importance of soft skills. In many different areas of law, and especially in family law, the ability of law students and lawyers to know the needs and concerns of our clients is vital to ensure that we can help our clients in the best possible way. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and connect with us on our socials to stay up to date with opportunities in law. If you are a legal professional, graduate, or law student with experiences to share, we would love to hear from you. Please reach out via our website or LinkedIn.